GC, what do we need to see about tenant placement fees?
Pablo, you own 3 rental properties. When you have a home that's rented, is there a certain cost that comes along with that typically?
A home that's rented is the property management fee.
When you purchase the home, everybody gets charged a tenant placement fee.
Okay. Don't forget that you're talking to the most trusting investor that you have here, right? Like, don't quiz me on the details of my contract.
You know what? I know more about the investment for you that you have anyway, so I'll help. I'll supplement. When Pablo purchased his investment properties, the home is rented out and there's a tenant placement fee that is charged. The entire property management business model is made up of tenant placement fees, property management fees, and then lease renewal fees. Those are the 3 main sources of income for a property management company. When we buy property management companies that we do at JWB, we've purchased 4 so far. I get to see all of their books, and 25 to 50% of their books, of their revenue, comes from tenant placement fees. So this is like the way that the business model runs. And when you are a turnkey provider like this provider, which is a different one than I just chose, I wanted to space it out a little bit. I also know them very well. They, of course, charge tenant placement fees when the home gets rented that they sell. However, if you look on their evaluation right here, you do not see a tenant placement fee anywhere. You'll see property management right there. And so the way that you would calculate this is you'd take that $2,084 that they're saying in year 1 when the home is actually rented. You divide that by $26,040, which is the scheduled income. And I think I did this last night. I think it comes out to about 8%. So they're saying that you can get this home rented and they're going to find a property manager out there who's going to charge you 8% without charging you a tenant placement fee. It's not accurate. I know this for a fact because this provider asked us to sell our houses to them, which we did not do. But if we had said yes, we would have been charging a tenant placement fee, just like we charge Pablo, just like we charge every client, because that's the normal way of doing things. So this is just flat out inaccurate.
Got it. So you said a couple of things here. I don't want to gloss over the idea that you purchase property management companies. So you see this stuff when you are buying the property management company, you look at the revenue models, you understand that most property management companies make their money mostly on tenant placement fees. And therefore, it being omitted is a cardinal sin of trickstery, right? So I think that's the first thing. We need to ask always about where are the tenant placement fees, because there's no property management company on earth that operates without it.
I've yet to see it as a successful property management company. I've yet to see some company not charge a tenant placement fee. And I've seen a lot of them. And I've purchased a number of them too.
Got it. Okay. So then what ends up happening is that you also mentioned a couple of things here, right? They are basically telling you your property management is only going to cost 8%, which seems low, right? Isn't JWB 10%?
Yeah. So this company asked us to allow them to sell our properties, which we said no to. But if we had said yes, we would have been charging 10%. So again, this is inaccurate. I'm sure that they have some provider out there who is the low cost, cheap property management company that probably only signs 1-year leases and probably does it for 8%. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there. But, I'm sure that there are some property management companies that they would refer to that would charge 10%, which would mean this was inaccurate.
So first ROI busting myth when it comes to DEFCON 2 tenant placement fees is find out where the tenant placement fees are, because they definitely exist. And second is take your property management fees divided by the gross operating income so that you can get a percentage number. And if it's not somewhere between like 8 to 10% or closer to like 9% at least, they're messing with you in some way, right? There is no like 7% property management.
I wouldn't go so far as to say there's no property management at 7%. I don't know. I'm sure that there's always a race to the bottom for some low cost providers out there. So I wouldn't say if you had property management fees of 7% that is impossible, but you got to realize what this provider is. This provider is not vertically integrated. This provider is basically a middleman where they just try to contract with companies like JWB or anybody else who has inventory, and then they just make their money on the sale of the property. But they have no influence on the property management. So they are incentivized to keep things off of their analysis because it's going to help them sell better. And then when the home is actually managed by whatever property management company they would refer their people to, this company that sold the house is no longer on the hook for returns.
So always look for the tenant placement fee. Then you're going to want to reverse engineer the property management cost divided by the gross operating income to figure out the percentage. The lower that thing is, the higher the chance that in a non-vertically integrated scenario, they are hiding things somewhere. Is there another big takeaway from DEFCON 2, GC?
It shouldn't only be year one that you have a tenant placement fee, right? Generally, you're building out a 10-year schedule of your returns over a 10-year hold. So there should be multiple years where they should see a new tenant placement fee. So you should see that repeatedly. You should see it in year one. You should probably see it in year 3, and year 5, and year 7, so on. JWB, we sign long-term leases, and our average resident stays 54 months, 4.5 years. So we have one in year 1, and we also have one in year 4, and then so on and so forth. So that's the core of it. You know, this is not a vertically integrated company that we're looking at. They have no accountability for return on investment. So they're incentivized to forget things that they know are going to be costs for their owners.